Welcome to my show. It's a guest here. His name is Steve Stratton. Steve, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here.
All right, man. Thank you so much, Mr. Steve. Firstly, you are a former White House communicator. You're also a former Secret Service agent, and you're also a retired Special Force under the NCO, that is the non-commissioned officer. Can you please, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, sir?
Sure. I'm doing really well, considering I'm 70 years old.
Mm,
I still able to get around and have fun. I was very lucky in my career. I
mm,
volunteered for a lot of different things, and uh, most of the time it worked out very well. So uh, I was not assigned to go to the White House until I started volunteering for something that was sort of secret that they wouldn't talk about. And I kept raising my hand thinking, okay, well, at least it's in Washington, D.C. I don't know what I'll be doing, but this sounds very interesting. And it turned out to be a very interesting and a wonderful time in the military to be doing what I was doing.
mm. That was very nice. A very great luck. Thank you so much, Mr. Steve. And you've also write three novels, and you also have one coming on the 25th of January. Can you please discuss more on those novels and the one that is coming on January 25th, sir?
Sure. The first series I started writing is about a Native American Indian, Lance Bearwolf, whose parents get killed by a drug cartel, the famous Sinaloa drug cartel and El Chapo. And so the first book is what I joke that it was pretty easy to write. It was a revenge book. He wants to get revenge for his parents' death.
Mm,
But as he gets into the fight with the cartel, he of course sinks into the darkness and his friends and finally he comes to realize that the uh, the best revenge is not to be like the cartel. So that's the first book. The second book expands on uh, a unit that the government builds around him, and then they go to Afghanistan and take on the Taliban and into France and Marseille, into some of the drug centers of Europe. And so the third book, uh, my readers were asking, I want to learn more about Lance Bearwolf. I want to understand where he came from, what happened. So I wrote a novella, right, about only like 3,600 or 36,000 words. Um, and it is all about where Lance came from, the Indian reservation,
mm,
and how he joined the military and got connected into the fight against the cartels. So the next book that comes out on in January is Lance and his wife um, go to Cuba because they've heard that El Chapo is trying to grow opium for heroin in Cuba. And of course, the president of the United States is excited about that. And so I had a lot of fun writing, not only Lance, but he and his wife, then with some help inside Cuba from some people in Cuba. And it was a lot of fun writing it, and I'm excited for when it comes out in January.
mm. Thank you so much, sir. We'll also be expecting this year. And those novels were really good stories. They were really great stories. Thank you so much, sir. I would like to go to the point of threat. In today's world, there are a lot of things happening. Even in our device today, we don't know what is going on. A lot of attackers and stuff like that do exist in our time today. So I would like to go like, what do you think are some of the most significant cyber security threats that you think individual and businesses face today, sir?
Sure. So from the individual standpoint, um, it really is about fake emails, right? So what they call phishing in all its different forms. And just the other day, I got an email that said I needed to contact Bank of America very quickly. There was a problem with my account.
Wow.
And I had to laugh because they didn't know that my account was closed. But uh, I never, ever click on a link in an email. If you send me a link, uh, or if somebody sends me a link, even a real company that I might trust, I will not click on the link. I will go open a window on my computer and connect to it if I think it's real. Most of the time, I just ignore them. I put them in the bin, right? I delete them immediately because I don't want them in my system where I might accidentally click on something. So uh, email scams like that uh, are a big threat. Fake Wi-Fi. So uh, if you are like go to the airport and you're waiting for your airplane, right, and you connect to the Wi-Fi, um, I suggest that everybody use a VPN that
Mhm.
will protect you while you're connecting, and hopefully you can connect to, like a well-known site like the airport, provides Wi-Fi. Well, that's good, but using the VPN hides your information and your credentials from the bad people. So, um, those are a couple of serious threats here to you and I. Businesses, it really depends on your size and what you're doing, right? If you, for example, take payments, if I'm a business and I am just building houses, I'm probably not a target. But if I'm in business and I'm selling things off my website and I'm taking money from people and sending them products and things like that, then you're processing credit cards and other things, and you could be a target. And the interesting thing to remember is that everything the bad guys do, the hackers, let's call them, or the people that make an email to fish and or do try and get money out of elderly people, things like that.
Mm.
That takes them time and money, and so they want to attack a group or a business where they think they're going to get returns, something they can sell like passwords, or they can break into the credit card system and make fraudulent charges and buy things, using your corporate card, things like that. So these are some of the threats. Now, the big companies, the big websites, Amazon, the big credit card processors, the banks, they're all targets, right? Because they've got billions of dollars. So, um, but um, so when you think about security and the threats, think about what you're doing. If you're, like, say, if you're ordering, um, you know, things from other vendors so you can build houses, or you getting electrical supplies or that kind of thing. You're probably not the same kind of, you don't have the same level of threat as a bank or a credit card processor. So it's important to understand what the risks are, and then you can tailor the security that you need, to that risk. You and I have risk because there's always going to be people trying to get us to click on these links in these emails,
Mm.
or have us a notification pop up on the website, click here to receive a notification, those kind of things. So we have to be careful with that being online. But as a small business, I think sometimes the bad guys, they want to go to bigger fish, right?
Mm.
So.
Mm. Now I guess it's because the main one is the link one, because that link one is even one of the most easiest way to get one information. And there will also be ways one individual or people can personally prevent themselves. There should be ways. So what do you think are some simple steps that anyone can take to protect themselves against this hacking and data breaches, sir?
Sure. So, number one is strong passwords. And I want to tell your listeners, don't be afraid to forget your password. If you make a strong password and you forget it, it's okay. You can use reset password. I I use it all the time. I make very strong passwords, and sometimes I forget what they are, and then I go through the reset password process. So I make strong passwords that I change every 90 days to 6 months, 3 months to 6 months. I change my passwords. The second thing I do is I accept all two-factor authentication. So that whole system where I put in my password and then it says we're going to send you a code, and I let them send the code to my cell phone because that cell phone I've got in my hand, I've got it unlocked. So when that code comes in, I can read it and put it into the website. So it's not perfect security, but that helps a lot, right? That means that it's less likely that somebody could get even if they get my password, they can't get in because uh, um, I will get a request on my phone, right, for a
Mm,
code to change my password. And I've seen this before. I've seen this myself where I'm just working and then all of a sudden my phone buzzes and it pops up in a text and says, "Here's your code to change your password." I'm like, I'm not doing that. And then I call the company directly and tell them. Sometimes when it's like a credit card company, their fraud people are so good, they will call me. They'll call me before I get to call them. So
mm,
two-factor authentication is a very good thing to do. Strong passwords. Don't be embarrassed or worried if you forget your password. You can go through the process to reset your password, and that two-factor authentication will help protect that too. Um, the other thing to do, big thing to do, whether it's your computer or your cell phone, make sure you take all the updates. So anytime I leave software updates turned on automatically. That way, Microsoft, Apple, whoever it might be, is they find bugs, they make patches, right? They might find a bug that's not a hacker bug, but they're going to patch it so the system doesn't crash or something like that. So making sure that your laptop, your computer, your desktop, your phone is up to date with all of its different applications and operating system is another great way because hackers will find bugs, and even though um, some what we call a white hat, a good hacker, will find the bug too and report it. It takes, 2 or 3 days sometimes for the software companies to make a fix. And in that time, that's where the hackers are trying to attack us. So keep up to date with those patches on your phone, your computer, and uh, because uh, Google, Microsoft, Bing, all these different like web browser people, they want you to be secure too because it's not good for their reputation if,
mm,
1 million people get hacked because they had a bug in their web browser. So those are some of the things, and that works even into small, medium, big size businesses. Um, One of the big things, like in business, is you have to understand, you have to have a good inventory of the things you're letting connect into your system. Then you can keep them patched and up to date because often in businesses today, especially small businesses, people are using their private cell phones. Um, Sometimes their uh, the work computers are at work, but they use their own home computer to connect. And so we want all those devices that connect into our business to be as secure as possible. Then we have to do the training, right, for the people to make sure they're not clicking on links and things like that. So those are a couple of the things you can do. It's called information technology hygiene. Keep all your devices up to date. Um, at some point, like I have a very old iPhone
mm,
8, I think it is here next to my desk, and it can't be upgraded anymore or that kind of thing. But I actually use it to help, like as a secure device, I use it like if I need to reset my Apple password. So I didn't get rid of this phone. It hardly holds the charge, but I use it as a security device. So those are some of the things you can do.
Mm. Thank you so much, Mr. Steve. I really learned from that. Thank you so much, sir. And I remember you said email and stuff like that, links and stuff like that. There should be a way to also, identify this type of scams. There should be a way that there's some things you will see that will make you feel like, this could be a scam mail, this could be a scam something. So, like, how do you think pitching and social engineering attack, how do you think it has also evolved? And what do you think people can also do to identify and avoid these scams, sir?
Well, yeah, I think over time,
Mm,
it used to be that, um, back back in the 80s and 90s, a lot of scams were more physical. Like people would rummage through your trash to find email, or information about your company and your people. They might do the social engineering, go to the back door where people are smoking and talk to them, and try and get inside, social engineering that way. Um, I think, though, that one of the issues we see is that as the bad people are successful, right, and we see and we hear about these website breaches
mm,
or company breaches where 1 million user accounts have been exposed. Now, normally, like I've been involved, my information has been in 17 breaches. So my information, like my name, my address, uh, and then some kind of password that is encrypted has been stolen a bunch of times. And what what's going on is now the bad people, like if I could go into the dark web and buy a list of people over 65.
wow.
And so the bad guys are able to target more specifically. It used to be they'd send out emails, and some people would just laugh it off because they get an email about, like, say, Bank America, their accounts closed. They've never had Bank America because that was a very big, wide attack. Now they're very able to uh, be more specific, which means you have to be more aware. Um, I personally, once again, I don't click on any links. If I think that that email is real,
Mm,
like if I really had Bank America still, I would call Bank America and say, "Hey, I got this email. You're requesting this." And I've done it like for an insurance company, and they said, "No, we didn't do that. That's fake." So that is one of the best ways that you could protect yourself because I have seen the phishing emails get much better at looking like real emails from a company. Their use of language and grammar is much better. They have links, and this is something that is very hard to detect unless you're experienced at this. Is sometimes they'll use the font they'll use on the link will be actually like a Russian font where the R and the N are so close together, it looks like an M, like Mary. Instead of Romeo, November, it looks like Mary, right? Because the R and the N are touching and it looks like an M. And it looks like, oh yeah, okay. I read the link and the link looks good,
mm,
right? It's going to Bank America, but that M in America is actually RNN, and it takes you to their site where they start attacking your system and trying to steal your money. So, personally, they've gotten so good that, like I say, I will just like I would contact Bank of America or whoever the bank is that this might have come from, versus clicking on a link and going through that. I won't call their customer support numbers, right? Things like that. Um, I live in a retirement community,
mm,
and something known as the grandma scheme happens a lot over the phone. and where somebody will say, "Grandma, Grandma, you know, it's it's your nephew, and I need money, I need help, I need help." And actually, people in my community have
Mm,
sent money to fake people before, unfortunately. Um, so just like on the phone, they're starting to get very specific because they've bought the information about us, and they can better tailor those emails. So you really have to be careful with that. If you're not trained, or if you're not an IT person that can look and understand, that's a strange font that normally wouldn't be in that font, which is very hard to do. The best thing to do is just never click on anything, make a phone call um, via a number that you get, and call customer support and have them help you.
mm. Thank you so much, Mr. Steve. It's a very, very tough one. Someone has to just be aware and be observant on any little thing that's coming through the mail or any information coming through him or her. Thank you so much, sir. And lastly, I would like to just ask, some people could be interested in going into cybersecurity in the coming future. What advice would you think you can give to anyone who is considering a career in cybersecurity, sir?
Cybersecurity is an excellent career field to be in.
Mm,
There are almost a million, there's 750, almost 800,000 jobs open around the world for cybersecurity. Um, First thing, and I was never a very good programmer, so I'm not a hacker, I'm not a great software person,
mm,
but I did, for example, what was called product management, where I would look at government requirements for credit card processing. I talked to the customers, and I would bring this back together and say, okay, this is what we need to do to build our software to put it out in the market, like our cybersecurity software. Um, Other people, you could be working in threat intelligence. So there are software providers who scour the internet, the dark web, looking for compromises and information. And you could be an analyst that says, well, this is interesting, but we don't have this in our business, so we don't need that. But once again, you're not programming software, you're not a hacker, but you're working with intelligence, much like if you were, working at a government intelligence agency, but it's all about computers, networks, and, the devices. So there are project managers that manage schedule and budget. They're not programmers. If you're a programmer and you've got some skills, the cybersecurity world would like to talk to you. If you know how to manage people, like you've worked at a help desk before, so you've got some basic understanding, you could work in a cybersecurity center, right? Because you're looking at alerts and then working with maybe the network people or the computer people to see if, that alert might only touch two or three computers, or it might touch 300. And so there's lots of opportunity here. It is a great field. There are companies that will actually train you and then give you a job. And it's almost like, you promise, if you go through their training and you pass, you promise to work for them for a year or two, so that, to sort of pay back that training. But now you're in the community, and you're very, very marketable and have opportunities all over the world in cybersecurity. The need for the software can only do too much. The software can only do so much, excuse me. And so we need people who can visualize, for example, a network that might connect, various centers around the world, and sort of understand the impact of, like, one of these threats, things like that. So lots of opportunity. I suggest looking at it. Like I say, there are companies like uh, Checkpoint, the firewall folks who have training, free training seminars and things like that, and other people. So, as you could tell, I'm excited about it. I'm retired, but I'm still excited about this space and the opportunity for people of all ages to get a very nice, secure paying job and make a difference, right? Make a difference for other people.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much, Mr. Steve. You know, you've explained every single thing when it comes to threat and protection, And, personally, I just used to ask a normal question on my podcast show from the ancestors. There are a lot of things that have happened in the past which could be missing in our time today. So, from the ancestors, from the forefathers, if there is anything you think is missing from, you know, in our time today, that you would like to bring back from the past, what do you think that thing will be, sir?
If I'd like to bring something back from the past, I'd like more people to just meet each other and talk face to face,
Mm,
right? It is so easy in this culture today, right? We have instantaneous communication. You know, here I am in the Rocky Mountains in the middle of the United States, and you're at home, and right, the internet has brought so much, but it's also made it so easy to sort of isolate, right? I just talked to you via text, you know, get on the phone, call a friend, go meet a friend, see a friend, right? Um, don't let the digital world consume you, sort of like the Matrix. Don't let it consume you and keep you at home, and in a dark room, with your computer screens. Get out and see the natural world.
all right, sir. Mr. Steve, I want to personally thank you for the information you gave us on my show. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right, sir. Have a wonderful day, sir. Bye bye.